I'm Tiffany.
This is the only weekly comic book review show where we take the books from this past week, recap them, review them, tell you what we thought about them, and then give you recommendations for books that are coming out this week we think you should pick up, where we do some giveaways as well. I don't know any other weekly live comic book review show on YouTube that also does giveaways like we do. For instance, if you would like to win a rare limited edition gold copy of this week's Exo Manowar number 2, all you have to do to win this copy, or a copy very similar to it, is to, in the chat right now while you're watching live, use the hashtag Valiant. Now that we're getting a C of hashtag Valiance, I will give you the stipulations. Those being, you must live in the continental United States of America, and you must stick around until the end of the show. When the show concludes, we will read a randomly selected audience member's name, and then they'll sound off in the chat. And what you do is we'll select you as a winner, and then you got to email me directly, sal@comicpop.net, and I'll get your deets, get your digits.
Yeah.
And we'll make sure to mail that off to you. So yeah, if you want to win something, which I rarely do, you could. Whenever I enter contests, I never really win.
That is so not true. You won that.
You didn't want that statue?
Yeah. I mean, that was years ago, but you still did it.
It was almost 10 years ago.
You still did it.
But I did win that.
We
also stuffed the ballot box for that.
I don't win anything.
Well, you could win this if you were watching this live, if you weren't participating already. Get out of here. No. Don't steal it from these good people.
That's fair.
So yeah, so that's an incentive for you to stick around until the end of the show. Of course, you should stick around to the end of the show anyway, because of course, we got a lot of fun goodies for you. And that's, at the end is when we do the recommendations. So
yeah, and we like you.
Yeah, and we want to hang out. This is one of the only 2 options that I have to hang out with you guys live. This is the only one you got that is here on YouTube. Of course, if you wanted to hang out with Tiffany live any other day of the week, you could do so tomorrow and Wednesday on twitch.tv/ComicPop, where you can watch Tiffany play video games and hang out with you for a couple hours at least. This week, you're going to be playing Miles Morales. I just finished it.
Yes.
So yeah.
So now I can confidently just go ham.
Yep. You can yell spoilers to your heart's content.
Yeah, that was rough.
I know, and I'm sorry about that.
I was like, oh no, I'm saying things.
Yeah, so there you have it. Got a lot to cover, so make sure to go over to twitch.tv/ComicPop to follow Tiffany at twitch.tv/ComicPop and watch her Tuesdays and Wednesdays every week, except for holidays and stuff, but otherwise... Yeah, and of course I want to give a special shout out to Tiffany for her birthday, which was the other day. Happy birthday, Tiffany. Congratulations on celebrating another trip around the sun. And
I made it one more year.
You did it. Woo!
I made it through 2020.
Did it. Cheers.
Thank you.
Survival.
I did not know you were going to do that. So you didn't get me at the beginning of the show, so you got me. Yeah, okay.
Yes. Also, we want to mention this show is sponsored by viewers like you. If you're watching this show live, you are a secret sponsor of today's episode. All you have to do to sponsor to the show is use the super chats and make a question or comment. We'll read it here on the show. The proceeds go into the infrastructure that is this channel and allows us to continue to do things unfettered. We can do the Valiant sponsorship. I don't get paid for that. That's just a giveaway that we think is fun and it'll shine some light on a book that doesn't have a lot of doesn't have too many readers as compared to something like death metal. And yeah, just a good way to highlight some small press.
Yes.
But yeah, that's it. That's all the ways we get money is through you. Because sponsors don't touch us. Brian Rowland says, can't watch the whole show live, but can't wait for a Ten of Swords talk and more later. By the way, get GhostNet and Bat, Ghostmaker, and Clown Hunter stink. Agreed. I said that I would stop reading Batman, and I have. I've quit the book. I saw on the cover of the most recent issue, Batman, Ghostmaker, and Clown Hunter will fight for Gotham's soul. I imagine that what probably happened was they didn't really fight until the last 2 pages, and then no one wins anything.
I read it.
Yeah? Cool. You could review it. And you can review it from now on, because I don't buy this book. Colin Shepard, I won't be able to stay for the show, but I am excited to listen to the audio version that will be uploaded. Keep up the good work, Team Comic Pop. Thanks, Colin,
Yay!
for your support. And for shouting out the audio, which is, of course, over on every place where podcasts are available under the Elseworlds Exchange podcast.
That's
Rodney Coverdale helping us out in the big bad way. Thank you very much, Rodney. Here's to keeping the lights on and to the beautiful ComicPop crew. Well, thank you, Rodney. You are beautiful as well.
On the inside, we're beautiful.
That's true. Some of us more than others. Gabe Simmons, I know your views on King's Batman, but will you guys be picking up Batcat? It's 12 issues. I'm optimistic, and it's based on that 3-timeline annual he did that I loved. Yeah, I'm going to be picking that up.
Nice.
And it is not going to be colored in any way by the fact that King and I now have like a weird rapport. But I am excited because I've always said 12 issues. That's what that dude excels at.
That's his thing.
So I'm going to see. You know what? Because I hate his Batman. Love every 12-issue series.
Yeah.
It'll probably be somewhere in the middle because I also don't like his Rorschach.
You know what it is, though, that I think it more has to do with subject matter than it does his story. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's just like, I just don't want to, I don't care.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
right.
I liked Rorschach as the character from Watchmen, and
yeah.
It turns out I don't want another iteration or...
No, I don't care. Like, I don't want any more. Like, it's just like, it doesn't matter how good it is. Just don't want any more.
Yeah.
Like, I'm good. That being said, I mean, like, if I was offered the job, I guess I'd try it.
Sure.
Because what am I, an idiot?
I probably wouldn't take it.
No, because it's just such a it's a thankless job.
Yeah.
You must have a really good pitch.
I was gonna say, like, you know, I was gonna try to pretend like it was because I'm just such a
bastion of integrity.
Yeah, and it's more like I wouldn't even know where to start. That sounds like a lot of work. I'm out.
Yeah. By the way, if you want to win a copy of this Exo Man of War, this gold edition, limited edition of issue number 2, which of course comes out this Wednesday, hashtag Valiant if you live in the continental United States. Stick around to the end to find out if you've won.
Yeah.
If you didn't stick out around until the end, we just moved to the next one because there's like a randomizer that our mod Danielle handles for us. So it's all fair, but it's also to the person who stuck around.
Yeah.
So hashtag Valiant. Use that in the chat, and we'll make it happen. So yeah,
what up?
There's a lot to talk about, I guess. Right? You read more than I did. I read 2 books.
I read 4.
All right. Well,
because I didn't want to rush my Andes, and I just didn't have the time.
That's fair.
You
wanna?
Yeah. To be fair, like, you know what it turns out is the week right before I go on break for Thanksgiving is that's the week everyone remembers all the things you have to do at work.
Yeah. Oh, that's just shocking.
It's just I always like get like lulled into a false sense of security where I'm just like, we're gonna be great. Look, we're nope, we're not. Anyway, I read Batman this week. I'm just gonna really kind of just jump into that.
Yeah,
really
how's Tynan's Batman, Ghostmaker, Clown Hunter?
You know what's funny? Like, I really don't care about those characters, honestly,
No.
at all. And, like, there was actually, like, a fun moment in this book between Ghostmaker and Batman that I really enjoyed, and then it's just completely shut down and it doesn't matter. And I'm like, that's really a shame. But honestly, I feel like my biggest gripe right now is Harley.
Yeah, do you mean the fact that she's, like, kind of shoehorned into the book?
She's shoehorned into the book, but, like, you know, like, regardless of her motivations, like, trying to be, like, you know...
helpful
or like wanting to, like, you know, turn over a new leaf and like try to be a good guy. And like, we've seen Harley do this before, and in this, like, Harley's really like acting like she's never been in charge of her own life.
Right.
And
like, I'm turning over a new leaf. I've got a new
she's
lease
like,
on life.
someone's always been there to tell me what to do. Like, you know, it's always like, you know, the Joker told me like what to do and who to kill, and like Waller told me like what to do and who to kill.
Right.
And I'm like,
what about your solo series?
Yeah, what about your like?
What about Amanda Conner and Jimmy Palmiotti's book?
So like that's where I was like, that's kind of weird. Fine, whatever. She's here, and like I'm sure she's here to service something because like maybe Tynan wants to write about her. Yeah, I'm sure, but like
servicing the dollars,
right? But like also like she's meant to be like kind of like a foil, I guess, for Ghost Hunter. No, for Clown Hunter.
Yeah, Clown Hunter.
Fine, whatever. Like it's just really full of like stupid, unnecessary names. But like in this, like Ghostmaker is like we get to see like a flashback to like Ghostmaker in the desert with Bruce, and like he comes to him and he's like, "Yeah,
Night of the Ninja,
let's fight, whatevs." And like Bruce is like, "Not tonight, go away." Okay. He's like, that's not how this works. And he like, plops down in the sand next to him. And like, it's the anniversary of Bruce's parents' death. And he's like, I'm out. I'm not doing anything tonight. And he's just like, and basically Ghostmaker's like, oh, I'm sorry. And like, Bruce is like, you never feel sorry. He's like, no, not for that. Like, because you're a loser. Because you suck. You just suck. But then like later on, Batman's like, essentially like Babs can't hear anything.
Oh, like she can't hear through the...
Like, she can't hear what Ghostmaker is saying, and she can't see him. She can only, like, hear what Bruce is saying, and, like, it's driving her crazy. And like she's like, you know, what is he saying? And he's like, Batman's like, oh, he's upset because like I made fun of him when we were 16 because he, I guess, wanted to go by the name Ghostmaker then. And like Batman's like, that's stupid.
That's such a dumb name.
You don't need a stupid name to like fight crime in Gotham.
Right. Except for Batman.
And like Ghostmaker's like, how long did it take you to become Batman?
Right. Okay.
Right. Fine. Whatever. Like, but like Batman's like, you know, they end up talking about how like, you know, you used to beat me until this time, and then like I turned 20, and then like I won every match between the two of us, Ghostmaker. And I'm like, that is really not the story you seem to be telling us prior to this.
No, it seemed like he was his match, equal, perhaps even better. We don't know.
But like the idea is that like Ghostmaker is there to do what Joker just kind of recently did, where it was like, you know, you're not good enough for Gotham, and I'm going to show you why. And, like, you're too soft, and like you don't know how to like really help the city, and like I arrived in Gotham. I've been here for 12 hours. Here are all the things I did. Like I stopped a serial killer who like the police couldn't connect the dots for, and like he didn't put on a mask, and so like he really flew under the radar. And like I tipped off the FBI to like a shipment of like weapons from Santa Prisca, and I like I turned in all this information about like these like justices of the peace who like were like dirty.
Okay, so he's like, look at how easy it is to save Gotham if I wasn't just if I weren't you.
If it wasn't trying like, you know, running around as Batman,
right,
or trying to like save this like kid who like killed 24 people or whatever.
Yeah.
And like here's where I thought it was really like neat until it literally wasn't. Like
right.
Here's one moment that I was like, that's cool.
Right.
Because like Ghostmaker's like beating on Batman, and like Batman's like, the guy's name was this, like the serial killer. And like he's like, what? He's like, I knew what his name was.
Right, I figured it out.
He's like, I had like, I think it's Orphan was watching him. And he's like, we were waiting to see where his like trophy cache was, because like we wanted to be able to give the families back something, but now they'll never have that because of you.
So, and let me get each one,
Batman's like,
I've already solved that crime, but like it's leading to a bigger thing. Like I'm more effective because I know I can see the bigger picture. Because
I know what Gotham needs. He's like, you know, with the weapons, he's like, I filled them with wax ammunition, but like we were gonna find out who the buyer was.
Yeah.
And with the justices of the peace, like we had like this whole sting operation, and like you just undid like months of work of like actually taking them down and getting them arrested for something.
Right.
And like Ghostmaker's like, what?
And
he's like, no, you suck. And he just like, and they fight. I was like, that was such a good takedown of this character. And I was like, oh my gosh, is Tynan literally going to make it like 2 issues and like this guy's out?
Yeah.
Because that's all he's worth?
Right.
No. And that's where it completely kind of lost me, because I was like, that was so brilliant.
That's funny.
That Batman just dresses him down. He's just like, no, you've never understood it. Like for you, it's all about like a competition, and for me it's about actually doing the thing that's needed.
Right.
And I was like, that's cool.
That's funny.
But it doesn't matter.
Because Tynan has now created 2 characters who are like representatives of the worst of like today's generation of people, where it's like, you know, Punchline's like, I'm doing it for the lols. You know, like I'm a like she's doing it for like I'm like a try-hard anti, like I'm a contrarian. And then like Ghostmaker's like, and I do it because fuck you. Because everything's stupid, right? Well, and it's like, oh my god.
It's funny because
really?
He's just like, I'm effective because it's like I can like check this off my list.
Right.
And it's like, but that's not really how it works.
You're not really helping anybody.
Yeah, like that's not actually as effective as you think it is, and here's all the reasons why. And I was like,
that's cool.
That's cool, but it doesn't matter. Like that's not the end of the story.
No.
And I was like, that's a shame.
Yeah.
That's a real shame.
Yeah.
Clown Hunter goes after Harley after Batman like saves him.
Right.
By the way, they don't actually fight. Ghostmaker and Clown Hunter don't fight.
Oh, so who gets the soul of Gotham?
Nobody. But yeah, so like I just don't. Thank you, by the way, everybody, for the birthday wishes. You guys are so sweet. So I was scrolling through it. I was like,
sorry.
Thank you. Thank you. It's just, I really wanted to like this because I like Tynan, and I think he's very competent.
Same.
And like he had been writing detective, right? And like,
yep.
And
he's the only one at DC who cares about Tim Drake. Like
this just isn't clicking for me right now, except for this like one shining moment where Batman got to be Batman, right? But like, yes, as was pointed out, like he's got his ghost net, and like for this guy. Like for Ghostmaker, that's so on brand for him. Like
absolutely.
Not even just calling it Ghost Net. I mean, like just how dumb that is, and how it's like he's just, you know, it's all about the Flash and the show for him in a way.
Right.
But then you turn to like Clown Hunter, and he has his bat, which he named Bat, and it's like
cool. Like, it's funny, right? Just self-referential.
And if at the end of the day, like, Tynion is using this as a way to, like, identify why some of the concepts that people think will improve Batman won't, that'd be kind of cool. But, like, I don't have faith
I don't see that happening. He had an event with Joker that could have been really cool, and he couldn't make it happen.
I know. No, I know. And so, like, I don't necessarily have the, you know, the good faith in his ability to pull a strong story out of this right now. I could be proven wrong, and I would very much like to be.
Yeah,
but like
this
just really wasn't for me. It just didn't resonate.
No.
So
that's fair.
Yeah.
James Olette says you provide awesome entertainment. Thank you, James.
Well, thank you very much.
Awesome super chat. We appreciate it, man. So thank you very much, James. Raj Patel, I can't wait to hear what you guys think about Hellions, given how darkly hilarious it was. Sad to see Hellblazer is ending this week.
Yeah, it is.
And happy belated birthday to Tiffany. # save Hellblazer.
Well, thank you very much. That would be a great birthday present. But yes, this week is the last issue is coming out. Issue 12 of Cy Spurrier's Hellblazer.
So pick it up if you can.
Yeah.
Mr. Supertastic, thank you very much for your Supertastic.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
Happy late birthday, Tiffany. Looking forward to your X-Men segments each week.
Oh, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I branded today.
That's right.
I really wanted to wear the hat, and then I felt like the shirt had a match, and this is like really my only long-sleeved X-Men shirt. So that was it's cold. It's cold outside.
It's true.
I didn't want to layer.
The Shannon Channel, I've been watching you guys since 2014, and I really appreciate the love and passion you put into everything you do. If you had to guess Hickman's endgame for X-Men, what would you say? If I had to guess, I think it's going to be like I think it's going to be a reboot.
It could be.
I think we're going to Moira it up.
Yeah, it could literally just be he takes us on a whirlwind adventure, like just going down a path that really hasn't been explored in terms of like everybody working together in this way without like using humanity necessarily as like a common enemy as much as it's just more a common goal that they have.
Yeah.
And then he could easily just put the toys back in the box with having made some changes that could resonate.
Yeah.
Or like not resonate, but like last.
Yes.
Like lasting changes.
Yeah. I think he's going to Secret Wars it up. I think it's going to be like about, at the end of the day, it'll probably be about Xavier and Magneto. And I think it'll be like illustrating that like there is a fundamental difference between the two of them and their goals. And like, you know, when Xavier becomes more Magneto-y, it gets creepy and sex like crazed. And when Magneto gets more Xavier-y, you know, he just tries to pervert the dream. You know, I think it's gonna be about that.
I mean, it would be honestly ballsy if like they just found a way, like if they were going to like Moira it up and like just reset the timeline, and then they're like, no, you have to live with this.
Yeah.
You have to live with this mess that you've made.
Right. I wouldn't be surprised. Deanie Dude 7 for my Pokemon fans is Ghostmaker, not just the Batman version of Gary. It sucks because I've been following Tynion since 2017.
That is exactly what he is, honestly.
Gary!
Or for you Prosy D fans, you know, Dildo Face.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's Dildo Face. So yeah, so let's move on from Batman.
So where do we go next? I know you have two big things.
So I figured we'll just do previously.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because like literally after we ended last week's show, I was like, you know what? I haven't done one time during this entire coverage of Ten of Swords. I haven't gone previously on X-Men and then kind of recapped what happened previously. And the previously was literally we've just kind of gotten into the actual competition phase where it's very obvious that very few sword fights are actually going to be happening because the fact is that Saturnine is a bitch.
Yep.
And she has very much her own, you know, agenda, and she's fixed the games, and like it's very ridiculous and over the top, and like almost kind of a critique of like what X-Men has been and can be. You know what I mean? Where it's just, haha, we have to do these things because reasons and like whatevs.
Yeah.
And we'll find out what those reasons are throughout. I think by next week. Next week's it. I'm sorry, this week.
Yeah.
Next week. Well, next week when we chat about it. But this week we went right into X-Force, which was X-Force number 14, which was part 17 of 22 of Ten of Swords. And essentially it was, remember that Pog fight between
Magic and
he, and I was like, that is so like, oh, that's a shame. Like just, it was an arm
wrestling
match. It turns out they're going to fight again.
Okay.
Saturn's like, nope, here we go again.
You know what, that was lame.
Yeah, but you got to put your swords down.
Oh my god.
So no, it's just like a fist fight.
Okay.
This time. And Magic lets herself be eaten because she realized something that like Pog, like the whole like alligator thing, that's like a suit.
What?
And there's like a little man inside.
Yeah.
And so she pulls him out.
Is it Gremlin?
No, it's just a little guy.
Oh, okay.
It's just a little man.
Okay.
It's just Pog. Well, I think Pog is the word for sword, and that's why he's Pog. Anyway. But like, so like she just beats him. She's like, is it to the death or just I don't care.
Right, either way, I'm just
gonna punch you a lot.
Good.
And so then like it's a Racco 5, Krakoa 3.
That's their first like new point in a long time?
Yeah, and then we just literally see a whole bunch of ridiculous challenges between the two lands, right? Where it's like they're in a dungeon and they're pushing boulders up a hill, and an eating contest and a dancing contest and a puzzle contest and a fashion show.
Oh my god!
And you're like,
so you're really putting like, look, this is what we're doing. If you hated the last like couple of issues, you're gonna really hate this.
Yeah, but they're one
panel. It's like a joke.
Yeah, they're one panel, and like it's just, I don't think anybody involved in this competition thinks that it's fair or that it means anything, because it's almost as though, while Arakko honestly is like Amenth and Arakko are a threat, like a real threat. Like Saturnine is so
like flippant about this whole thing.
Yes,
she's just like, whatever, let's have a party.
Like to me, this is her way of saying this is how stupid your little war is,
right? And
that's how I'm going to treat it.
Yeah.
Like this is what I feel like that's her approach to this whole thing. She's like, this is all so dumb.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Everything that you're doing is beneath me. And so like a little more of what Saturnine is looking to get out of this is kind of revealed. In that, like, obviously she wants Brian to be Captain Britain again. And so she calls him that. And he's like, that's not my name. And she's like, no, it's yours to take,
but that's dumb.
Though.
The fact that we even, like, made you not Captain Britain anymore is stupid.
Well, I mean, like...
It'd be funny if she was, like, a purist. She's like,
no,
this is dumb. Wolverine isn't smoking or kicking ass.
And you're not Captain Britain.
You're not Captain Britain.
You're Captain Avalon now.
Why isn't Excalibur? Like, where's Megan?
She's on the island. She's on Krakoa.
Yeah, well, she's not on Excalibur, and that's nonsense.
She's on Paradise.
Where's Kunlun?
With her family. Where she's got a kid.
Yeah. What? Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Why isn't it with him?
I think it is.
Well, what the hell?
Anyway,
make their kid a dragon.
Anyway, so essentially she is very much just like, but you should be. And he's like, you set this up to kill my sister, and you think I'm going to be Captain Britain now?
Right.
Like, get bent.
Fair enough.
Like,
yeah. That's fine.
She set herself up for failure, but she already knows that, and so she has completely rigged the challenge he's in to make it work in her favor. And so he's in like a foot race against Redroot, who is that like cipher allegory for Arakko, the tree lady.
Yeah.
And like she's very slow. It's like the tortoise and the hare, and he's like, there's no way you're gonna win this like competition. And then this like bunch of like weird steampunk android looking things show up, and like Saturnine has sent them to like hold back Brian.
Yeah.
And so he's like, this isn't fair. You clearly rigged this in every single competition.
Right.
And she's like,
yeah, that's you.
And the last horse crosses the finish line.
Exactly.
And so Redroot totally takes it, but in like her like, she's very slow, so she's just kind of walking it across, like she's like speed walking. And as she's doing that, her elbow hits something in the Crooked Market, which is Mad Jim Jasper's like domain. And he's like, oh yeah, everything has a cost here.
Right.
And so like, yes, you did win, but like she's like, he tells her that like, she knocked it over, and she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like she feels really badly. And he's like, oh yeah, look at that. And she's like, how much does it cost? Like, what do I owe you?
What point?
He's like, it was priceless. And so then like he takes her and puts her in the jar it was in.
What? So she's not in the book anymore?
Yeah, now she's like tiny.
Oh my god.
And like, Saturnine's like, she just learned a little lesson, but now look at the carnage you wrought in the Crooked Market, Brian, in fighting my guys. Can you imagine what he's going to ask of you? The only way to avoid it is for you to ask my help.
Oh my god.
I'm like, I just hate you so much.
Yep.
We have like an info dump page in which Mojo is watching all of this.
Right.
And so like, he's taking notes on all the competition, and he's talking about how he's going to spin those into like episodes of things and TV shows. And I'm like, I hate you, go away.
I know you hate Mojo.
Don't.
I like it because if I assume correctly, Mojo is pretty much for Marvel editorial toxic Twitter fans of Marvel. So, like, anyone who's been like, I hate a Ten of Swords, it's bullshit, no one's having any cool sword fights, this is lame and stupid, and this character should do this, Mojo says those things.
No, he says things like, when Captain Britain is turned into Crystal Shard, he's like, this episode could be a cliffhanger for the television event. Like, let's draft a script. And, like, for the magic fights, he's like, let's have her lose both of them, and then she becomes his lover. So it's like, yeah.
All right, Mojo.
That's what Mojo's doing. Anyway, magic takes place in a spelling competition. This is where I'm like, oh my god, what are we doing? And like the answer is magic, and she spells it wrong
because it's her name.
Yeah,
like she spelled it like her name.
Yeah,
no.
Then there's one like that's interesting, and like I kind of wish this had like more. I wish this one wasn't couched in the like funny ha 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 Saturday Night's a total douche.
Yeah.
In which the sword and the white sword and Wolverine are standing in front of two mirrors, and they're going to be faced with every person they've ever killed.
Whoa!
And whoever blinks first loses.
Okay.
And, like, we see that Wolverine does lose.
Yeah.
But, like, as he's, like, watching, like, a tear falls down his
That's
cheek.
cool.
And I was like, that's really sad, and that could have been really well done given the space.
Why isn't that in the Wolverine book?
Right? I don't know. There's one where they have to kill a kitten. War was going to do that.
I saw that
so War is my least favorite character of all time.
Naturally, yeah.
So, anyway, at the end of the day, oh, by the way, Death and Storm do have a sword fight.
Okay.
And it turns out, remember that the Blight Swill that Wolverine and Storm drank during their drinking competition?
Yes.
That's a factor.
Oh.
That's what took away Wolverine's healing factor.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, it siphons away their powers. It will give it back.
Right, but for the fight.
But like Wolverine has a healing factor, so it's pushed it through his system pretty quickly, and Storm doesn't.
But Storm's like, I didn't have powers when I beat Callisto. Like...
Well, she did. She just didn't use them. But, like, she's also, like, she doesn't feel right.
Mm.
And so, like, she's in this fight, and, like, Death helps her up. And he's like, I'm asking you to dance. And they have a sword battle.
Right.
And he's like, it's fine. Like, I get you're not feeling well, but, like, we still have to battle.
We gotta fight.
And, like, she's like, oh, yeah. No, the thing about that is that, like, my powers might be gone, but, like, that's not what makes me a badass. And then she kicks his ass.
Cool.
And she kills him.
Oh.
Because, like, she stabs him, and then he takes his helmet off, and he's like, prepare to see the last thing all living creatures see before they die. And then she takes the sword, and she puts it up, and it reflects it back at him.
Oh, that's cool.
And then
But you're not Death.
Oh, no, she shatters the sword, and then she stabs him in the chest.
That's cool.
And she's like, cool. And they're, like, in the vampire land. And so she's like, well, he's bleeding, have at it. And, like, the vampires leap down from the stands. I was like, ooh, okay. Ooh. Thank you, Storm.
That's cool.
So that was that's all of X-Force. X-Force is just showing you, like, hey, we need to, like explain how we get to the point levels that we're at. Which, like, Arako's at 17 and Krakoa has 6.
Yeah. So
it's like, okay, we are
the whole goddamn thing could be Dumbledored.
Well,
like it'll be like 49 to Krakoa's 4.
I'm gonna guess that's only if Brian actually like bangs Saturnine. Like,
no, Saturnine could just be like, oh, but they showed great valor, and so 600,000 points for Gryffindor.
Sure, I accept the fact that she doesn't clearly like any of the mutants.
No, but like who does at this point?
So anyway, then we have to travel over to Hellions, which I've really been enjoying this book because it's like, it was very dark, but it has Sinister in it, so it definitely has that, like, sarcasm and, like, people like Sinister, people hate Sinister, people like to hate Sinister, you know what I mean? Like,
well, he's a douche.
And, like, do you remember when they were sent, like, Sinister came up with the plan that, like, they should send the Hellions in to Arako to get the swords before everybody else, and then Sinister got sent with them?
Yes!
Yeah, we pick up with that
story. Cool, good.
And so, like, they walk through the gate into Arako, the Hellions.
Oh.
And, like, Havoc's missing an eye. And, like, I love the way this opens. This is such, like, a, like, D&D kind of trope where it's, like, they're talking about this adventure that happened that we don't get to see.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, oh, yeah, I guess that, like, those hippogriffs really took that bridge toll pretty seriously. Havoc, next time I'll get that one. It clearly took his eye.
Right.
And so, like, everyone's worse for wear. And they are like, okay, now let's go find those swords. Where are we gonna go? You better know what to do next, Mr. Sinister. Grey Crow is still enthralled.
Yes.
Nanny is riding, remember Saturnine's horse, Silkmane?
Yeah.
Still riding the horse. That horse is, like, skeletal at this point. Aww. Like, it's just, like, its skin is hanging off of its body.
Mm-hmm.
And when they get there, they're like, so, like, what now? And there's, like, a dude there.
Yeah.
And the dude's like, what's up? And they're like, oh no, we've been discovered. And, like, they're like, oh, we're here to find the swords and, like, stop whatever, right? Like, where are they?
And everyone has them already, man.
That's literally it. The guy's like, what are you talking about?
That's over.
We're
in like part 18 of 22.
Yeah, they're in Otherworld. They're fighting. And, like, they're all like,
oh,
you suck. You're the one that let us through there, and he totally boned it up and, like, didn't know how to get anywhere.
Yeah.
And then it turns out that he has an actual ulterior motive, surprising no one who's reading these books because it's Mr. Sinister.
Yep.
And he wanted to go to Arakko in order to get genetic samples so that he could manipulate those back on Krakoa.
Yeah.
And that's all he wanted to do.
Right.
He had no intention of getting any swords whatsoever.
Yeah, okay. That's cool. That tracks.
Right? It totally tracks. And so then Havoc is going to, like, beat the hell out of Mr. Sinister, and the gentleman they're talking to, Tarn, is like, you let your children talk to you like that? I don't let them look me in the eye. And then, like, it's revealed he has, like, all these, like, mutants behind him. And I say mutants because they're, like, mutated mutants.
Yeah.
And they're the Locust Vial. And the Locust Vial is essentially Tarn is, like, a Mr. Sinister for this world, where he, like, he manipulates mutants to make them, like, different.
Okay.
And then they fight for him, like, as though he were a god.
Right. Okay.
And nobody wants to be part of this. They're feared and hated, and nobody likes them, and they all have, like, ridiculous names and, like, scary powers and stuff like that. Like, there's Mother Rapture and the Hex Butcher. The Hex Butcher is interesting because, like, he has to eat to, like, he for his strength he has to eat, for his joy he has to eat, and so he butchers and he eats. And then there's another one named the Amino Fetus who is not allowed to eat, and so he looks on, like, with envy.
Right.
To that one. There's the Sick Bird, and then there's the Mudgear Recanter, right?
Okay.
So all these powers, and they're all ridiculous and over the top, right?
Yeah.
And, like, Tarn is like, that's fine. Like, I wanted to go, actually, to Krakoa and get samples as well. But, like, you know, and you can go ahead. No, he wanted to come to Arakko because they're from Amenth. And he's like, I wanted to do the same thing, so, like, let's do that. But, like, my guys are off bounds. Like, you can't, their souls belong to me.
Right.
And, like, Sinister's like, yeah. He pulls out, like, a box, and, like, there's all these, like, little, like, drone mosquitoes, and they go flying out. And that guy's like, okay, fine. And so, like, they just immediately start fighting.
Yeah.
And one of them just blasts, I think it's Mudgear the Recanter. Uses a laser blast and, like, takes down Nanny. She was on the horse, and, like, it's just half of her is there. And, like, they're all like, well, I guess that's the end of that iteration of her.
Yeah.
Unless Sinister can clone her.
Right.
Empath is like, screw this.
Yeah, I'm lame.
He releases Grey Crow and then just runs for the portal.
Cool.
He's like, I'll just take my chances. I don't even care. Orphan Maker loses it and just starts firing into the crowd.
Okay.
So everyone's basically fighting. It's just a big, huge fight that goes out, but with, like, real stakes, because obviously if you die here, you don't come back right.
Right.
And so I think, yeah, Orphan Maker ends up not making it. He's firing on everybody. Psylocke's trying to protect everyone. Grey Crow gets, like, taken down, but he's still, like, kicking. He's still alive. Havoc goes to fight everybody, and, like, someone cuts his hands off.
Oh.
And so he has no hands. He just has two stumps, essentially.
What the hell's he gonna do now?
Wild Child is hanging out with Psylocke, obviously. And then the Amino Fetus grabs Orphan Maker and, like, pulls his arms off, and he's gonna start eating him. And it's, like, really horrific because, like, he looks like, they describe him as, like, having, like, almost like a cancerous, tumorous body. And so, like, it's really an uncomfortable look.
Yes.
And, like, all of his vile loci, like, brethren are trying to stop him from eating, because if he does, I think he devours them or everyone. It wasn't 100% on that one.
Okay.
Sinister's collecting all of his things. He's like, okay, cool, we can go now. And he gives Psylocke the box. And he's like, take this back. And, like, that's part of our deal, so you have to do this.
Right.
But they're not going to be able to make it. And so, like, Psylocke goes to Wild Child and is like, I need you to buy us some time.
Aww.
And so, like, Wild Child, like, is like, all right, I'm in because you're the alpha.
Yeah.
And he does that, and like he's killed.
Aww.
And so then Psylocke and Grey Crow and Havoc make it back through the portal. Sinister's about to go running for it, and Tarn's like, I would respect you if it weren't for the fact that you broke the one rule I had, because it's like you really, like, you and I very much are like of a kind.
Yeah.
But you broke my rule, and so he uses his powers to stop him. And then like you just see Sinister being like broken apart.
Oh, cool.
And I'm like, oh, that's nuts.
Yeah. But like, which Sinister was this anyway?
Yeah, right. The priestesses of Saturnine had been chasing down the horse, so like they knew that like Empath had come through the portal, and then he immediately got picked up because like he doesn't know what to do.
Right.
The other three were able to like convince a mage to help them and like whatever, and like so they basically make it back to Avalon, where a bunch of the priestesses are waiting, and they're gonna arrest them, and then Empath shows up, uses his powers to make them stop, and like Grey Crow's like, oh, hey, you made it back. And he's pretending like he's still like under Empath's thrall.
Right.
Then he goes up and he stabs him in the gut, and he's like, you don't want to die here, so you better crawl your way through that portal. So Grey Crow and Psylocke and Havoc walk back through to Krakoa when they're attacked by this like mist, this mist like cloud kind of thing. And it's Sinister, and he stabs Psylocke through the chest.
Oh. And
he takes down Havoc, and he melts Grey Crow. And he kills Empath as well. And he takes his box back and he hides it. And then like he rips his clothes and pretends like, oh no,
like he was defeated too. Yeah.
Like
I was the only one who made it.
Yeah, that kind of thing. And you're like,
what the hell? Nell died in Otherworld?
No, they died back on.
They made it through Krakoa.
They made it through the Krakoa.
I thought they made it through.
Seemingly.
I was like, oh, okay.
But he's like, oh no, and we can't go back there. Nobody can go through. It's dangerous. Like everybody with swords is like, they're screwed.
Yeah.
So then he has to go to the Quiet Council. So now we check in with Cable, right?
Cool.
Cable was the next issue. Cable number 6, which is part 19. The Quiet Council is convening. There's only so many of them there right now. Jean is not present.
Oh.
And like Sinister stopped to get his cape, and like Kitty's like, so wait, you lost your entire team, and you think that like we're in a lot of trouble, and you stopped to get a cape,
right?
Something
badass. I look sweet with my cape.
Yeah, and
I guess
so
what Jean's with Scott doing the sword thing.
She
like the ship.
Well, no. Xavier reaches out. He's like, I'd rather have Jean here because like, she clearly wants him, like her there to like back him up in terms of like being able to like read the room. But Jean doesn't answer. And he's like, okay. Yeah. Anyway, Sinister's like, we need to destroy the gates so that nobody can come back through. Because obviously he's like, that guy is totally gonna come through,
right,
and get me. And I don't want that. And they're like, we can't do that. And Krakoa's face is there, and is like, yeah, no, you're not closing, you're not blowing up the gates. I'm too close, basically. Yeah. So the next battle over in Otherworld is between Cable and Bay, the Blood Moon, or Bai, which is Cypher's wife. Right, right. So like Cable's fighting, and like he's doing his best, and like he actually gets like he could kill her, and like he hesitates because of Cypher. Yeah. Aww. And so then like she gets the drop on him, and like she's got his face in the mud, and like she's gonna kill him, and Cypher stops him. Oh. Or stops her, and it's like, don't, please. Like, he's my pal. And like Saturnine's like, it is a fight to the death, but I guess a death of spirit is just as good. Oh Point Araco. Fine. So it's like Araco 18, Krakoa 6, and then Cable reaches out to his mom. And like, so it's a strain, but he's able to do it, and like he's like, I couldn't do it, and I should have been the other guy. I should have been me, and like I
should have been older, bigger, Rob Liefeld Cable.
Yeah,
you should have. You're cooler that way.
And like I should have, like that's how it should have gone. Like Cyclops is like,
you killed him.
Cyclops can hear it as well, and is like, I don't think about it like that. Like you're doing okay. Like right. And he's like, no, you don't get it. Like we have 8. Like we're
really losing.
Like, it's really bad, and they're gonna come through, and like we're not gonna stop them. And like as they're having this conversation, like Saturnine comes over and is like, yeah, enough of that.
Oh, like turns off the conversation.
Yeah, and like Jean's like, okay, well, we're just gonna have to go over there, right? And it's like I was like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah, I want to be in this book too.
Let's do it. So we don't know what happens with that, but like
Wolverine hasn't been doing dick, despite the fact that he's like part of this family.
Well, he's exactly like you would expect him to be from the X-Men animated.
I'm gonna use these. I bet you don't. 22 minutes later. Right. I didn't.
So the next battle is between Gorgon and the White Sword.
Okay, I don't care who wins.
I'm like, that's a badass battle.
It is a badass
two
battle.
warriors.
Kill them both.
Here we go. And so like the White Sword's like, you may fight me after you fight my 100. And Gorgon's like, okay,
can do.
So he like one shows up and he slays him, and then like another 2 show up and he slays them, and then like 3 more and he gets them, and then like he just sends the rest of them. And like Cable's like, this isn't fair.
Yeah.
And like Worf's like, hey, no, it's cool.
Yeah.
No, it's fine.
Neither is any of these fights, so I don't know why you're pointing them out now.
Yeah. So like one of the warriors grabs Gorgon by the face and like pushes his thumbs into his eyes, and so now Gorgon's blind, but like he's still killing guys.
If he doesn't die, he can go back to Krakoa and get fixed.
He'll be fine, right? And like he is just besieged, and then finally like Saturnon's like, okay, enough. She's like, by my count, he killed 13 people, which now puts you guys at Krakoa has 19, and Arakko has 18.
Oh my god!
And like War's like, that's
not fair.
No, that sucks. White Sword, you got to stop this. You have to go kill him.
Right.
Go kill him. And like he's like, dude, you can't fight me right now. You are bleeding and you are blind.
I'm Gorgon. I'm a badass.
And like Gorgon's like, no, that's fine. And he's like, so I'm gonna kill you, and then I'm gonna resurrect you to be part of my army. And he's like, no, you're not. I walk my own path.
Right.
And so then he just like takes it and like dies honorably.
All right.
And like Apocalypse goes like look here, children, that's how a mutant dies. And I was like, that's kind of cool.
Wolverine's like, good.
And like Saturn's like, okay, here we go. I'm gonna reveal what the next fight is. It's like 1919.
And Apocalypse just takes her head off.
Well, here's the thing. The point is, the fact is that like everything other than anything that had to do with Betsy and Brian, Saturnine really doesn't care about. And like all of this was really leading up to this last battle.
Right.
And like Apocalypse is like, you don't even have to reveal what the cards say. I already know what it is. Because it's Annihilation versus Apocalypse.
Yeah, it's Apocalypse versus wife. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like that's...
He's like, no, it's Pog versus Apocalypse. Oh!
And then, and then Magic just uppercuts him.
Yeah.
Sit down.
Sit down, no.
And then we get like a little like, this is how it all broke down. Like the names of the contest, the competitors, and like where the points allotted. In case you literally picked this up knowing that, it was one of the final ones. You wanted to see how it all broke down. There is a chart in the back. You can like check that out in Cable to see how it all went. If you wanted to, if you didn't read anything else, that's where you could pick it up.
There you go.
One of the challenges is literally called kitten killing.
Because that's what happens.
But yeah, so like I think I'm accurate in saying that like Saturnine is very much treating this like none of this mattered. Like she likes having power. She likes being able to exert it over others who she deems beneath her.
Right, of course.
The fact is she used to be in charge of, the Captain Britain Corps, which has been gone since Secret Wars.
Yep.
So for her, she's like, this is nice. I mean, I have my priestesses like that, but this is fun.
Yeah.
I'm having a good time right now.
Right.
Look at the puppets dance.
Yes.
Because I told them to.
Right.
And
people think I'm Emma Frost.
Which I gotta tell you, I Emma's great, and like, don't get me wrong. I love Emma. I love her style. I love her attitude. But like, Saturnine is a special kind of jerk.
Yes.
Like, she is a special kind of jerk where like she has like the power to back up the Apocalypse sinister level of ego and like manipulation.
And power too.
Yeah. So I'm so frustrated with her, and like I know I'm gonna be continuing to read Excalibur, so it's not like she's going away.
Right.
But I'm hoping she gets taken down a peg.
That'd be nice.
Hopefully. But like I said, really this was the match.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. And I think anyone who's been interested in this and anyone who's stuck around and really been digging this is the battle we want to see, because a lot of folk have felt like Apocalypse has been underpowered.
Right.
And like diminished. And he's going to be going up against his wife. And so...
who may be more powerful than him.
Yeah, well, seemingly she's a better fighter.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. So there you go. That's the rundown of what Ten of Swords.
And by the way, everyone's saying that Saturnine looks like Emma. The fact is, Saturnine's been around for a very long time, and she already has a Earth 616 counterpart. So yeah,
it's not her.
It's not. I'm sorry. They
just look the same because they're both like blonde and they were white.
Yeah, that's kind of it. Which is like really depressing that Like, you're like, no, that means they look exactly the same. It's like, listen, they're just two blonde white ladies who wear white.
Yeah.
So nobody else can, if they've got blonde hair, they can't wear white, because otherwise they look like...
Right. Neil and Bradley says, listening to you guys while I do my 13-hour shift by myself at a haunted workplace. Thanks for your entertainment.
Haunted?
Hellblazer save me. If it is haunted, that's dope. Let us know.
Dude!
Tell your story.
Yes.
You should call Ghostmaker.
No, you don't want to call him. You don't want any more ghosts.
No, call Ghost Hunter.
You need Ghost Hunters.
But thank you, man. Thank you for and thanks for letting us hang out with you for this time. Super Pooper, last week I finished 3 massive artworks. Exhausting, but I had back issues running the side throughout the week. Watching you guys is a secret sauce to my art. It has always helped me be productive. I'm happy to hear that.
Oh, dude, congratulations. That's that's a great feeling.
Right? Finishing your art. It's freaking awesome. Yeah. And thanks for letting us be there with you. That's a lot of fun. Tartisman 85, Brian, Pork Saturnine, 69 points, go to Krakoa, and Wolverine just says, nice. Yep. Be funny. And then Megan shows up. Like, then that's the big fight will be Saturnine versus Megan.
Yeah, Megan's like, enough.
That's enough. No more. Critic Clips, hey, Sal and Tiffany, is ComicPop your full-time job? And random question, Sal, what's your favorite comic of all time? Keep up the great work. I don't know. My favorite comic of all time shifts and grows and changes. It depends. They're very different. Comics do different things. So it's not like there's a comic for me that like is the best ever. It's more like comics that were great formatively or contemporarily, or like represent different aspects of my personality. So there's a ton. Kingdom Come, stuff like that. But yeah, ComicPop's my full-time job, not Tiffany's full-time job. Nope. I run ComicPop full-time. But everyone else has their own gigs. Yeah. They all kind of like give me their time and make ComicPop what it is. So yeah. We also have Will I Am Golden with an adorable corgi gif.
Oh my god.
Being cute.
Thanks, Will. He's giving us a gift.
I do. I appreciate the bone.
I love it.
Jason is in the chat saying hello.
Yay, it's Jason!
Hey, man. Silver Cricket, we need Emma in the same room with Saturnine for at least 5 pages. I agree. I want to see that just to deal with it.
I want to see that in terms of that conversation.
Yeah, those two.
Of like 3 words.
Yep. I want to see that. Just some guy with a mustache takes Excedrin. I don't have a headache. I'm just preparing. Bring on the death metal. A cupcake with little to no cake, all sprinkled. Yeah, man. I completely agree. Carl Maxey, Sound Tiffany, if you can do a dark multiverse story of a ComicPop member, what would it be and what story would you tell? I don't know. I guess dark multiverse Tiffany. That's more interesting to me than either of the other guys. So I guess I'd read that.
Well, thank you.
There you have it.
I'm gonna do dark multiverse Wash.
There you go.
A cat.
Yeah. Hashtag Valiant win a free copy of this gold limited edition of X-O Manowar #2 from Valiant Comics. You gotta stay till the end, and you gotta live in the continental United States. Otherwise, all's fair. Just hashtag Valiant in the chat. You'll get... If you've already, by the way, done it, you're in the aggregator. Like, you're in the machine, so don't worry about it. But anybody who's new, who's just joining us, hang around to the end, and then we can do this.
What's my story?
What's
my story?
Are you talking about Dark Multiverse Tiffany? I don't know, man. I'll come up with something.
Okay.
But, yeah. So there's more. Let's talk about Spider-Man. Amazing Spider-Man number 53 or Legacy 854 has come out. Nick Spencer, Mark Bagley. I think last week we got the Pat Gleason Nick Spencer issue, which was Spider-Man got killed by Kindred. And Kindred was like, let's go. I've gotten all the Spider characters out of the book. It's about Spider-Man characters now. And then aptly done, we immediately move on and we get Mark Bagley, classic Spider-Man artist, to draw this, and it's like every time I see this I'm just like, just do that. Like, why are you screwing around with these rando artists? Like, why is Giuseppe Camuncoli drawn one panel of Spider-Man when Mark Bagley has still been around and isn't drawing like anything? Just put him on Spider-Man again. It's not like he hasn't done it for 600 issues, and it's not like he couldn't do 600 more, and it's not like he doesn't get better every year, unlike other certain Spider-Man artists who only get worse every year.
Maybe he doesn't want to do it.
He's doing it now! So, I love, by the way, like, so they revealed Kindred. I'm gonna spoil it because, like, they revealed him, like, 4 issues ago. Like, we get it, it's over. And there's still people who are like, I didn't agree with that, so I'm thinking it's not him. And I'm like, I think it's him. Like, I think we're good. And I'm happy to say that because, like, when they revealed Kindred, I was like, man, wouldn't it be cool if it was Harry Osborn? Like, and the new Harry Osborn, like the one that's been around since Brand New Day, was like a clone or something? Wouldn't it be cool if, like, actual Harry Osborn, the one who died in, like, that good book, unlike every other book he's been in, you know, he came back and he's a snake, he's a centipede man?
Don't you hate it when you come back and you're a centipede man?
But, like, this issue, we watch, like, Liz Allen is asleep. And Normie is asleep, and they're visited by Kindred and his centipedes. And it's like, okay, yeah. And then we move on. And, like, so the issue is basically, like, oh, crap, hang on. The book stopped loading because Comixology is like, oh, you haven't been logged in. You've been logged in way too long. Time for us to bump you out.
Listen, it takes me a while to go through X-Men. Leave me alone.
Oh, my God. I gotta do a fucking CAPTCHA. Comixology's gotta get their shit together.
I'm vamping.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I should talk because if somebody's just listening, they don't know that I'm shaking my head around.
Oh my God, this is really stupid.
And then there was spider things that happened.
Whatever. All right. So, the whole thing is essentially like, where did Spider-Man go when Kindred killed him? Obviously, Spider-Man was like in another plane of existence or some magic place, like when they fought in the first place. Jesus Christ. All right, you know what? I'll fix this.
I'll fix this for sure.
Love Comixology.
I literally can't believe that this Wednesday, Ten of Swords will be wrapped up.
I know. It's great. Finally.
Hey.
No, it's great because, like, hey, it's actually. Like,
well, they did it.
Everyone was complaining that, like, it took too long, and it's like, what are you talking about? It took like a month.
No, it is 22 issues, but like they really made it like where it was like, here it came out,
and I promise you, like, it'll be big. Like, the next thing will be huge. So Peter wakes up, and it took me like a minute because I expunged this from my mind, but Peter wakes up. And he wakes up exactly like he did at the end of One More Day. And the beginning of Brand New Day.
Mm-hmm.
And so he goes downstairs, and Aunt May is making breakfast, like she did in One More Day. Mm-hmm. And Peter's like, oh my God, it's the end of One More Day, I've got to go. Mm-hmm. And so he leaves, and he goes to the party, which is like the Welcome Back Harry party from the end of One More Day. And it's like really cool because, you know, Peter's like, Flash is still alive. And like, he doesn't warn him. He just like gives him a hug. And that's the book where.
Well, he doesn't want to hear from Ethan about how you can't change the timeline.
Right. Exactly. But he, you know, he like in that issue, like at the end of One More Day, you know, like they undo the marriage and then they show like all the characters Joe Quesada remembers and likes to see with Peter, plus a couple of new women for Peter to be interested in.
Right.
And Mary Jane's at the party, but she leaves early, and she looks really sad. And Peter's like, oh, there goes Mary Jane. She'll never forgive me for doing One More Day. And then, like, she leaves. But in this instance, Peter's like, no! And he tries to get at her, but all these annoying Brand New Day characters keep getting in his way. And he's like, no! And then she leaves, and Harry arrives with, like, Carly Cooper and everybody. And, yeah. So we're dealing with Peter, like, reliving the end of One More Day. Harry, of course, like, goes through, like a mirror portal. Or Kindred, I should say, goes through like a mirror portal, and he's like visiting, you know, his wife and Normie and everybody. And then he goes into like this kind of like nightmare kind of like dimension or realm where all these mirrors are. Seemingly, this is how Kindred is able to like pop in different places and appear like at different spots. Mm-hmm. He is physically in those places, like looming over Mary Jane and whatnot. Mm-hmm. This is like his base of operations. But Peter's like lifeless corpse is lying on this like slab. And it's clear, like, this is where he's having, like, his hallucination or his dream or his whatever. But Peter's chasing after Mary Jane as Harry, like, Brand New Day Harry, is trying to introduce him to, like, Lily and Carly Cooper. And he's like, shut up! Get these annoying characters out of my way! I'm trying to get to the one character that matters in this whole book. And Then we get, like, it's just, the whole issue is just a recreation of the end of One More Day and Peter reacting to it.
Right.
And Harry has this line, which in One More Day he says, the worst thing about sobriety is that the parties suck, as he's like pouring champagne for everybody. Because like the implication in One More Day was that Harry was in Europe getting sober from his LSD addiction. It's like, what? But yeah, so but in this scene he says, you know what the worst thing about hell is? The parties suck. And so you're like, oh, like Harry died. Like,
right.
Yes. But he's like talking to Peter, and Harry just is like, and then Harry like breaks the illusion to Peter, and he's like, yeah, man, like, do you know what part you say? Like, do you know your line in the end of One More Day? And like, this whole issue is just Harry revealing to Peter that Kindred is actually Harry. And it's brilliant because Spencer plays with the line, because like, you know, Harry says something like, you know, it's so great to be back. And Peter says, speak of the devil. Well, you know what they say, speak of the devil and he appears. And it's like, back then it was a reference to Mephisto, but in this it's like, I'm referring to like you. Right. And then when Peter awakens from his like death state and he like arrives back in this like weird mirror world, you know, he faces Kindred, and you know, Kindred kind of like confirms, yeah, it's me. And he like takes off his mask, revealing, yeah, it's me, Harry Osborn. And he says, gotcha. Like, gotcha. It's me. It was me the whole time. And like, that's the issue, which is kind of mind-bending because there's a lot to unpack about it. Because like, the issue is basically a rehash. No, not a rehash. It's a reminding you of Amazing Spider-Man 389, which was also drawn by Bagley.
Oh.
Written by DeMatteis, who is getting like a lot of reckonings because Spencer fixed Last Hunt, which was written by DeMatteis, and he's fixing The Death of Harry Osborn by DeMatteis, but like, that was the end of Pursuit when Peter's chasing after Chameleon, and it turns out Chameleon was like a errand boy for this like master planner, not the master planner, who engineered artificial life forms to create Peter's parents, and then they die, and so Peter chases after Chameleon, and then it turns out there's like this actual guy behind it, and the reveal is it's Harry, and Harry has already died as a result of DeMatteis' run. So like, DeMatteis is like, no, like the master planner of Peter's parents' resurrection was like a plan Harry hatched during that story, but he died and redeemed himself. But that still was going on, and they didn't have time to warn him about it.
Right.
So Peter never gets his revenge for like the resurrection of his parents.
Okay.
But like, when Peter finds out, it's like this previously recorded video of Harry as Green Goblin, and he says, gotcha.
Oh.
So it's like a gotcha parallel. It's like reminding you like, hey, remember that? And I'm like, that's really cool.
That is really cool.
Like I said, if you were like, no, this Nick Spencer run, like me, I very much have been like that. Like, pick up issue 50 and go from there. Like, you don't need any more than 50, 51 to 54. Like, you're good. Because you're like, oh, who's this Kindred guy? He looks cool. It's Harry Osborn. Whoa, that's awesome. Who knew? Like, as opposed to spending like 2 years being like, okay, we get it. I don't care about Gog or like, you know, whoever, the big man, whatever, moving on.
Right.
So, yeah, the issue's fun. It's cool. It's a lot of, like, it's neat. I really dig it. And yeah, like, you know, it's a lot of fun. A lot of deep cuts, but it still kind of stands on its own 2 feet. You know, and of course it's like playing with it. And you pointed this out when you first saw the cover, that like the banner for Last Remains is like, it's using the exact same font and color scheme as the cover for Amazing Spider-Man 400, which was the cover you can't read because like they for no reason made it like a gatefold and an emboss, and so like, but it's Amazing 400 where MA dies.
Yeah.
So it's just like reminding you of those. It's like, this is the reckoning for the 90s era of Spider-Man.
Yeah,
I guess. Spencer just being like, no, I'm bringing it back.
Yeah.
Like, I'm fixing it. And you're like, okay.
No, it's cool.
Good. So it's good. It's just a lot of fun.
I'm really glad, honestly.
Yeah, I really dig it. It's a lot of fun. Keep reading it. Like, good stuff. Pick it up. That's it. It's just, what happens is, and literally the book reads in like 6 minutes. The last 3 issues have read in less than 10 minutes, like per issue. But it's doing stuff I want.
Did
I
see a comment that people are brainstorming my multiverse?
Yeah. Yeah. And we'll get into that in a minute. I just wanted to get through these super chats, and then we'll jump into the the Tiffany Dark Multiverse.
We got that.
Yeah, so Carl Maxey says, that's Tiffany. That's the Tiffany one. Alex Cash, I've been busy, so one big backlog. Thank you, man.
So I have a big backlog.
There you go. I'm busy, so I have a big backlog. Thanks, Alex. Caught up on a month of Ten of Swords in one session, and I loved it. Spider-Man Last Marines was all right, too. Afterwards, I watched all the Off the Rack episodes. Love hearing your takes. Keep being awesome. You too, Alex. Thank you for the support.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that lovely super chat.
Yeah. And
also, good on you for catching up. It's not an easy thing to do.
No.
Like, legit. Like, no. So, like, that's a big thing.
And I think it's funny because, like, yes, that's, like, it reads better when you're reading it all at once. Instead of, like, reading it week... Because that's the other thing, but it's week to week, guys.
Ten of Swords?
Ten of Swords. Yeah. Where it's like, the fight was silly and dopey. Oh, it's because Saturnine a pain in the ass. Like, oh, okay, moving on. Like, yeah, that's kind of cool. Hecker's Boy says, wonder why they have this big story featuring Krakoa and Apocalypse and don't have Evan Savanur, who's prophesied to destroy Krakoa, anywhere around.
I think he's dead.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they've got, like, literally, like, the ability to bring...
anybody back, but, like, yeah, why isn't... I think, like, Little Apocalypse was grown into Big Apocalypse, and so that's Apocalypse.
No, I thought he died.
I don't know. I don't know why either.
It can't. No, but this one is clearly not.
No, that's right. Carl Maxey, what would you want in a Killmonger and Magneto comic crossover? I wouldn't read that. That would not interest me in any way.
I think what I would want from that would be like a solid reason for them to be
cross over
together. Yeah. And I'm not trying to say that in like a dismissive way. I mean, like, literally too many crossovers are just put together just because. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying there isn't a reason, but like, and that reason, if they had a solid one, I think would be enough for people to want to pick it up because it was like, hey, we made this make sense.
Yeah.
And like, that's cool.
Yeah. Super Pooper, will the Spider Miles game be archived later? I really want to watch the stream, but waiting to finish the game myself first.
Yes. I mean, like, it's up there for at least 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes away, but our moderator's been pulling those, so I could put them up on a secret channel someplace.
Yeah.
Secret channel.
That's true. We also have an adorable super chat from Joshua. I'm sorry, it like...
What if you hover up over here?
Oh, yeah.
Will that do it? Nope.
Classic YouTube.
Yeah. I don't want to ruin anything, but go ahead. Describe it.
Yeah, it's a corgi gifting "You're amazing" in an adorable outfit.
It's too cute. Is this just gonna open the little? It's a little corgi over there.
Yeah.
He's in the... Oh my god.
But thank you, Joshua.
I love it.
Very, very generous super chat and for your adorable searching of this of this guy.
I love it. Thank you so much for the super chat. And yeah, sorry.
J. Joseph Frazier says Dark Multiverse Tiffany is blonde and wears contacts while Sal's bald and has big bushy beard.
A great big bushy beard.
Yeah. It is an Earth, so I'd have to be on that Earth too.
Yeah.
Good. The troll's been removed. Getting artsy with a lobster says money. Thanks, Art. Thanks, lobster. Really appreciate it, man.
solid message.
Cut to the chase. We appreciate it, man. But you're very, very kind. And I see you in the chat, like, just enjoying yourself. So good. Thank you very much. Algie Try, late to the party, but not too late to send some love. ComicPop, hell yeah. Hell yeah to you too, Algie. Thank you very much, man. You got any more books?
No. I think we're ready for the...
All right, let's talk about Death Metal number 5.
We should just get into that.
This is interesting because, like, Death Metal number 5, of course, is written by Scott Snyder with art by Greg Capullo. It is the not yet penultimate issue of this freaking book.
Wait, really?
Yes, there's 7 issues.
Oh, okay. So we have 2 more.
2 more. Now, that being said, I'm sure there's going to be 17 more tie-ins for this book. So, strap in. I will say that I had a peculiar experience reading Death Metal number 5.
Okay.
So we'll talk about that in a minute. So Basically, you know, what happens is the Batman Who Laughs, who's of course the Darkest Knight, fights Perpetua while the team regroups, thanks to Lex Luthor, where they find out the thing that Scott Snyder spoiled on one of our podcasts like 6 months ago, which is that, like, we're not going to reboot, we're going to remember everything, we're going to make the Omniverse as opposed to the new universe or multiverse. We need anti-crisis energy or whatever to do this, not crisis energy, because crisis energies create crises, whereas anti-crisis energy will create anti-crisis, where it will untie the knots and, like, remove, you know, the time. It'll make the timeline one time. We're gonna go with the Marvel sliding time scale where everything happened. We also get the reveal of what Superman and Batman had been once, like, 4 months ago, whispering about.
Yeah.
Which is, like, who gives a flying fuck, because there's no way that it, like, matters. But Batman reveals that he died, like, before already. And then the Black Lantern ring's the only thing keeping him alive. And Superman's like, and I'll never be able to be Superman again, because I'm definitely never going to be able to be changed from having a rock arm.
Right.
Sure. Like, we wasted one whole page on that. And Wonder Woman's like, I accept you anyway, because the book's about me. Did you know that? Did you know it's a Wonder Woman book? Did you know it's about me? Because it's about me. Because I care. I love, and I want to reboot.
No, her thing is truth.
It's truth. I'm about truth.
I thought
I was about love.
I thought you were about wonder.
No, that's my name.
No. When you did the whole tree thing.
Oh, that was written by James Tynion IV, though.
No, I meant remember Scott Snyder's tree thing?
Yes. But wasn't that Tynion also? How can I? No, but that was setting up this. That's not what this is now.
Gotcha.
So, each member of the Trinity leads an army to go do their thing, which is distract. Well, yeah, because they want to get the Darkest Knight. So
they're going to destroy the Earth.
Destroy the Earth. That's right.
Yeah,
because the Darkest Knight needs Earth Prime in order to repopulate the.
He needs it it's like the nougaty core of his dark multiverse.
Yes,
is going to be this Earth, and they want to get him back from killing Perpetua, and so, like, he tries to leave, and she won't.
And she won't let her. She's like, "No, we're fighting.
What are you doing?"
Yep.
So then, he says, "To me, my baby planets."
And so he unleashes his, like, I think it's like the Evil 52 or something like that. It's like it's another bunch of planets full of dark multiverse versions of other characters.
Sure.
And so they're gonna fight him.
Yeah.
And that's the book. Like, that's the issue.
Yeah. So here's a question for you. Is this issue suffering from a change in what this book was meant to do?
The thing is, I think because Scott had been talking about what this book is about for the last several months, like, that he always meant for it to be about that.
Well, I mean, like, the idea of making them all one, because it feels... All right, so my problem with when I read this issue, and again, it could just be because the other issues...
It took too long.
They did take a while. But it feels like the... You know how, like, there's, like, a way in which someone can tell a story where it's like, our adventurers are going down this one path and they truly believe that this is the way to go.
Yep.
And then, like, through, like, self-discovery and growth and like, learning and knowledge and, like,
and teamwork
and change, like, they realize this is not the actual way to which to fix it, and, like, here's the real way to fix it, and here we go.
Yep.
Instead, what this feels like is, you don't have to read the first part of this book.
No.
Just read this
issue.
And then move on.
Yep, that's all you need.
And, like, so I was wondering if it's not because of the fact that it was like, they were like, this can't do this one thing, it has to do something else.
Yes.
So, like, you need to change it now.
Yes.
I don't know, but you did mention the fact that he had mentioned earlier that this was kind of where this might be going.
Well, that, like, Wonder Woman finds that, it's never actually come up yet, I don't think, but, like, Snyder said basically that, like, rebooting and reorienting the universe to suit your own personal needs is what a villain does. And, like, we need to go forward and face what comes.
Right.
And so, like, that's when she switches gears from anti-crisis, or from crisis to anti-crisis.
Right.
But, like, that's not what this is about.
Right. Yeah, I think for me right now, this book is reading like things are happening just to happen.
Yes.
And it's less about like narratively making sense and more about things needing to occur.
Yeah.
And that frustrates me.
Yeah. Because you like stories.
Well, I mean, occasionally that can happen. And like, if you're like, again, I know that this was meant to be like just a fun action pack, whatever.
Yeah.
And like sometimes you just kind of forgive those things. It's like, well, it has to happen because of whatever.
Right.
But I know Scott and the way in which he also tells a story where he does care.
Yes.
And he does care about like history and he cares about
character,
like story structure. And so like this book is, there's just something off.
Yeah. There's something very off. And it could be because of the severe change in direction and editorial control and management that DC underwent during the formation and execution of this event.
Yeah.
But I don't think that Scott Snyder's the type to be told what to do anymore. So I think this was going to do whatever this is going to do no matter what.
Whatever it's doing it now.
Yeah, whatever it does, it's doing it now. And it was always going to do this. It's just like that also they can use it to whatever end they're attempting to accomplish as a company.
Yeah. I mean, like, so I know this is like pegged as like a Wonder Woman book, and at the heart
that's
of
what
it,
they
like,
want you to think.
They want you to think
because
that.
There aren't a lot of good ones. Like there aren't a lot of good epic events about Wonder Woman.
Well, I mean, we just did Justice League Dark, in which she was at the heart of that.
Yeah. The sales were great.
I don't care.
That's the problem.
I don't care. I care that it was.
I know that was good.
Story.
Witching Hour. Pick it up.
But it feels like she is at the center of this in terms of people telling her that she's important and is like the best of us and like whatever. Yeah. But like she really hasn't done much.
This is literally what would happen if I had to write a Wonder Woman book. Because like I'm not the world's biggest Wonder Woman fan.
Right.
And not because I think she sucks or because I think she's overrated. It's just I don't connect with Diana on like a really fundamental level.
Sure.
And I don't know a lot, like I don't read a lot of Wonder Woman books. So if I were asked to write a big event that mattered the most to change all of DC continuity and Wonder Woman has to be at the center, I'd be like, I don't know, Batman and when Superman show up though, and I guess I put like Detective Chimp and like all these characters would be in it.
Yeah.
Because they have to be. And each time like Wonder Woman shows up, I'm like, and I guess she'll be the one to be the smartest one. And she'll be the most level-headed among them. Like, people do crazy shit, and she'll be the one who's gonna like, hey, we gotta get back on track here. Like, because that's what she seems like. She seems like a ringleader.
Right.
Like, she seems like she's just trying to keep the book going. Like, she's the one who keeps reminding us what the book's about. And the book keeps spiraling out of control into other random shit.
Yeah.
And she's like, wait. It's about continuity, though, you guys. And it's like, is it Wonder Woman? And it's like...
I didn't even get that. It feels like the book is trying to make it like there's like some omniscient force that is trying to make it about that.
Right.
And these characters are just like
what?
Wait, what am I doing?
Well, we just went to the dark multiverse and grabbed like crisis energy?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that doesn't matter anymore. Moving on.
They're almost like actors in a play where they don't remember any of their lines.
Yeah.
I was saying the time
they're
like
just trying to improv their way out of the scene.
Line?
Yeah.
What is my motivation here?
That's exactly what it is.
There was like a moment in this where I was like, oh my gosh, we're going to end up we've hit the turn. This is the turn for the story. This is the turn for the character that this book is supposedly about. Which, by the way, I wanted this to just be a Justice League book.
Yeah.
And that's the three of them working together. And that kind of what it is. But like when you peg it as like, no, it's really supposed to be about this one character.
Right. And she's the driving force.
Yeah. And like you have this moment in which like Castle Bat is like,
trying to punch him.
Is attacking them. It's like, I'm all of Gotham.
All of Gotham!
And like he takes down Superman, he takes down Batman. And I'm not saying like she has to like be strong with everybody or whatever, but she has this moment where she might rise to the challenge.
Yes.
And like have the opportunity, and it's undercut by a new character who shows up in the nick of time to give them a whole bunch of new information and a new plan.
Yep.
And I'm like, I can't tell if like this is like to an end, it was always planned, or it's just kind of lazy.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I don't.
Because it's not over yet, and like we do have 2 more issues, and like fine, whatever. But like that was just so like I'm like, oh, it feels like you painted yourself into a corner.
Yeah, but you're the only one writing it, and and you have no editor. So like, why did you get tripped up? Like, why did you get into a corner in the first place?
Yeah.
You should be in an Oval Office of a type, where there are no corners. It's just, you just run in a circle, but that's what, I mean. And
it does a little feel, and like, I think there's something to be said. You could take this positively or negatively, honestly. I think you could look at it both ways, depending on the camp that you're in right now with this book.
Yep.
But in terms of like, it feels very akin right now to the first event.
Yes.
To metal.
Yeah, it feels, well, this is the first time I actually got shades of metal out of it.
And like, there's something like to be said for that, where it's like, oh, this is actually like poetry, it rhymes.
Yeah.
Like, we're ending where we began in a sense. Or this is what I'm doing. This is all I know how to do.
Right.
And like, so I think you can take that from either way, obviously. Again, depending on the way in which you're viewing this right now.
Yeah.
It's funny, as we're getting closer to the end and like things are clearly being revealed and laid out, and like this is how it's going to kind of go, and like this is what we need to know, and like this is like the plan and what have you. It almost feels as though the story is sort of out of control right now.
It is completely out of control.
And like, not in a fun like
it's out of control. Like, you don't know what's going to happen next.
Yeah, but like
it's like, this is out of control. You have no idea what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
Like, it's just about intonation.
Yeah.
But I will say, in terms of giving this a compliment, while I was reading it, I was thinking about how, like, there are 2 more effing issues of this thing. And how there were 4 tie-ins called Death Metal Who Gives a Flying Fuck.
Yeah, there's another one coming out this week.
I know. And I'm trying to remember what image like really struck me for it, but there was a moment where I like had this realization, and like it took too long. It was the image of Signal pointing to everyone else how like the dark multiverse is literally coming to punch them.
Yeah. And
I was like, oh, this is a crisis. Like, for whatever reason, this book has not felt like it matters or that anyone has any, like, direction for it. But when I saw all these action figures that I would never read a comic book about standing in one place, that was when it hit me that this reminded me the most of Crisis on Infinite Earths. Where I'm like, I don't care about most of the people on this page.
Batman's back there.
Way back there, and he's dead, and he's a McFarlane figure. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, but I got this image where I'm like, oh, like, I finally, and in an actual, like, genuine complimentary way, I finally understood, like, I got the scope of what they were going for, because that image crystallized for me all of the tie-ins, and I'm like, oh my god, the DC universe is ending. Like, I had that moment in my brain when I was looking at that image, and I crystallized all the tie-ins that are coming out, and I'm like when you look at it kind of like at surface level, you're just kind of seeing them all come at you. So you're like, oh my god, another death metal tie, another death metal, get out. And then like finally an issue of Death Metal finally comes out, and you're like, what the fuck was that? Get out of here. Like, you're waiting for it to matter and mean something. And then like a great man that I know once said, like, you got to get to the balcony and look at it from up there in order to get your perspective and to like find, that perspective for you. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I finally had that balcony moment, and it's literally in a scene where all these characters are way down here and tiny, and they're pointing up at the sky. And I'm like, oh, this whole thing is a reboot. Like, all of DC is going to end, and they don't know what they're going to do next. Oh my god. Like, this is scary like frustrating and like and grand and epic, and it's like I you know what I mean? Like, I had that same feeling of gravitas that I had as a Marvel fan as a small child looking at Crisis on Infinite Earths, where I'm like, Jesus H. Christ, look at all these fucking characters I don't care about doing God knows what, but I know it matters because my comic book store guy said it matters a lot. And it's like getting that moment of that perspective of being like, like and it's happening now as opposed to it happened already, and it doesn't matter anymore. You know what I mean? Like that's the scope and the feeling I had.
That panel for me was literally like I was just like, yeah, of course Signal's up front.
Yeah.
That was all I thought about, and I moved on.
Because he'll never be up front ever again. So it's like you might as well put him up front.
I feel badly because it's like Duke could be an interesting character if
people have done stuff with
Scott hadn't given him a ridiculous name and maybe wasn't like
so insistent on him when he first
just let him be a character. Just let him do whatever.
Well, now no one cares, so he could be anything.
Sure.
You know, you can get a Tom King 12-issue miniseries out of this guy. But like, you know, yeah. But it's like, of course you're front and center. Like, look what's coming! And they're like, who are you?
I'm the Signal man.
Oh no, it's Black Robin!
That's why he's signaling. He's letting them know.
He's signaling.
He's doing his job.
Why is he using his power that he got in Dark Knight's Metal? Anyway, yeah, it's just kind of like I genuinely like I'm like I am very concerned about DC. But then like I needed the perspective of being like DC is a soulless, faceless company, and they're going to be fine without me and my care or support. Like, do you, DC. Do whatever the hell you want to do. You want to drop comics from your name and just be a brand manufacturer? Knock yourselves out. Because, like, DC doesn't give a shit about me. So why am I dedicating so much time and effort and care to this company that's, like, clearly spiraling out of control? Like... They'll figure it out. But this event is like so emblematic of their lack of direction, of their lack of authority, of their lack of place in the industry. Like this is just a complete quagmire. But it's like and yet it also is like representative of all the things people like about DC. It's like, look at all these characters that like look, and every single one has their own crazy story and they're all their own niche market. You know, and like they have dozens and dozens of fans, and like, oh, like cool, like look at them all, like, you know, with agency and doing their thing. And it's like they're all coming together to do something in the real world. You know, like we're gonna reboot this publishing label, but we're all coming together fictionally to make it make sense in our own real little story. And it's like that's kind of beautiful and interesting. But so like I need to like. But looking at it, I was just like, oh, I was heartbroken for this company. And then I'm like, you're a company. You don't need me to care about you. I just need to care if I like the story or not. And I want you to tell more good stories. And I think at the end of the day, like, it doesn't matter. Like, you don't need crises. Like, you don't need a crisis. Like, nobody cares about how it makes sense. They just want it to. You know what I mean?
No, for sure.
And it's like, you didn't need Wonder Woman to literally tie knots in the lasso of truth to point out, like, how you want to do a sliding time scale. And it's like, you know what you didn't need to do? Wait 40 years to do it. You should have just done that.
Yeah, I mean, I think like now it's gonna be rough.
It's gonna be really rough, and it's
gonna be rough.
And I feel like, really bad. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna like, and like people are already talking about how it's like they could drop continuity, and like
they're not dropping continuity. They're keeping all of it.
Yeah, but they might not. Right. Because it's like, well, we have all the continuity, but nobody's going to pay attention to all of it.
No.
Because then no one could do anything.
Right. Yeah. Then you had the audacity to promote a 9-part DC event that will start before this is over.
I thought that was not. I thought this was supposed to come after. I really did. I don't know why I thought that. I was looking at dates, I guess.
I would not be the least bit surprised if it was supposed to come out afterwards. But it's not.
But like what frustrated me was I was like, this is another event in which our characters are in a alternate version costume of themselves. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, if you don't like...
a themed costume version of themselves.
If you don't like the Spawn version of the DC Universe, how would you like a chilly version of the DC Universe?
Also, like Vikings and
you got Vikings, Swamp Thing, and Chilly Batman, Arctic Freeze Batman. You know, the thing is with Endless Justice League Endless Winter is a event that is written by people whose work I like, which is about them fighting like a chilly bad guy. And it's like, first of all, shouldn't be 9 issues. Secondly, that should be fun and exciting. Where it's like, oh neat, look at them fighting cold guys. I don't know, like that should be fun, but no, it's like it's not.
Well, again, it's that issue where it's like we've talked ad nauseum on this channel about event fatigue, and we have been doing nothing but an event.
Yep.
And
you have the audacity to advertise it in this event that shouldn't even really exist. And at least, here's the thing: the problem is like this 9-part event it's not gonna be 9 issues of Endless Winter. No, it's like Endless Winter 1 through 9.
It's crossing over. It's like kind of what Ten of Swords did.
Yeah, it's a comic book story event where it's like chapter 2 is in Flash, chapter 4 is in Aquaman. It's gonna be. It's
interesting because some of them do have the moniker of like Endless Winter, and then some of them are just
the next issue of Aquaman.
Which I'll be reading one of them.
Yeah, but it still is gonna take 20 days to come out, and it's like that's too bad. Maybe more, actually. Now that I think about it, yeah, it's gonna take 30 days to come out. So that's too bad. Because, like, I don't think anybody's going to have the heart or the patience to.
People might be. Issues. I mean, I think folk who are into DC and are excited by it might be, and maybe.
This might be
You might be like, I got off the death metal bandwagon. This might be something that they're like, I can do this.
I can handle this.
That might be something that they're more interested in.
Yeah.
So this might have been a good bet for them. But I think for people who have been on the death metal bandwagon and are like, why am I still reading this? It's like, something else is coming out,
and it's like it might be in continuity, like it might matter. Like we're having an event that's happening right now where they're like everything's gonna matter, and this event's gonna happen concurrently with this event, and this event's gonna be about like whether this chili guy's gonna kill everybody, and it's like the whole world or whatever, and I'm like the whole world's already dead. Superman's killing the world right now, and then they're all gonna like come back and be like, okay, put on your Arctic freeze armor. Because we're going to fight another bad guy. Like, I don't know. It's like, when you do this too many times, you almost, like, run the risk of breaking the illusion for comic book fans who, like, are predisposed to enjoying colorful action figures punching each other. And it's like, if you do this too many times, you're going to break the mold and have people go like, this is all kind of dumb. Like...
It could.
You know what I mean? Like, if I'm stressed about, like, what's happening, and, like, I'm not saying I am, but I'm saying, like, I know people who are like, stressed about where this is going, what this means, and, and where the future of this company is going to go, and where the future of this universe is going to go, this fictional universe is going to go. I don't know. It's like, and then also they're going to fight this cold guy. And it's like, I don't know. It feels like your friend asked you to move. And then, like, when you get to their house, they're like, you are still going to help me move, but I also need you to help me build this, like, birdhouse or something. Like,
right.
It's like, it's that's a lot, man.
No, it is. And I mean, like, and again, it's not just DC on their own, because, I mean, simultaneously, Marvel went from Empire into Ten of Swords.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that could technically be 2 different audiences. Not everyone. They are, yeah. But I mean, like, it is still like comic book event.
Yep.
Metal was going on at the same time. It's a lot. It's a lot for people, especially to keep up with the events. Because it's like, if you want to read this Endless Winter event, you might be picking up DC books you don't normally pick up, which for them is great because that's what they want to do. They want you to try these books out. And they want to make that extra sale on that book. But it is a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot to ask.
Yeah, it's a big ask, especially if, like, you're being asked to pay for the beers that are being offered to you to help them move.
No, for sure. And I mean, like, that's the same thing you could say about Ten of Swords, though, where it's like, it's 22 parts, and, like, you might be trying to pick up books each week that you normally would not have budgeted for.
Oh, yeah.
Just to try to keep up with it. So, like, it's a big ask.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I say skip it. Like, don't pay any more for this book. But if you are like, I'm curious about death metal, pick up this issue. Because this is where things actually start to matter.
Yeah.
And you get a thing they already did in the Dark Multiverse. A thing that you haven't seen before, where, like, Lobo makes more Lobos. And they, like, literally did that in another Dark Multiverse book.
Oh, did they?
Yep.
Oh.
And I'm like, my god.
I assume they're all going to fly around her.
Oh, yeah.
And make like a Lobo bullet.
A Lobo bullet. There'll be a Loblo! Getting Arts with the Lobster says, also the Twitch channel needs more subs, so watch out. I'll be in the next one. Nice, man. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Apropos of that, if you want to go to join that, you can go to twitch.tv/ComicPop.
I would love I love having you guys there just to chat. There's no pressure for subbing. You just come hang out.
It costs nothing to follow. Deviled Ham says the best part of Death Metal is the eventual back issues episode. Wait, does that count as a tie-in? I'm gonna do a cover that'll look like a tie-in. I think I'm gonna try that. I won't remember that, but I wish I did.
I hope so.
But thank you very much for your super chat. Yeah, we are gonna cover it, and I promise I'm gonna try not to be like as much of a jerk about it.
I am looking forward to not being on the couch for that one.
Yeah. Chris Check, we call that the anti-penultimate issue. Thank you.
The
anti-penultimate. Christian Barraza, I thought the Omniverse was already a thing as of the Multiversity, where it ends with the reveal that Multiverse -2 or Multiverse 2, Omniverse, multiple multiverses. Whatever, man. Silver Cricket, as a Wonder Woman fan, her big thing should be love and compassion for enemies. She is someone who inspires but does not lead. Well, she's doing that in this.
I think she can be a leader, and I
agree too. Yeah, well, she's
based on her,
she's just designed to do that.
Yeah,
she's designed to be in front.
Yeah, no, for sure. I was gonna say just with her military, background ish.
Yeah, she should be the complement to Captain America, not Batman.
But I mean, like literally, nobody is the hero of this book. It feels like
no one is the hero of Death Metal. Yes. Gabe Simmons, what do you think about Rorschach #2? I loved Investigation of that building, and Jorge Fornes absolutely killed it. I didn't buy it.
I completely forgot that came out this week. We said we were going to read it.
I know.
Oh, bad.
I literally saw it and was like, I don't have the patience to read that right now.
I honestly didn't even see it. You know what, though? I went, never mind. That was on me.
Yeah, Death Metal broke me. I was like, I got to stop. We'll talk about it later. Mr. DC Comics, Death Metal, Dark Knight's Metal and Doomsday Clock or serve the same purpose, to restart the DC Universe. One's John's, the other's DiDio. Well, Death Metal's really Snyder.
Well, it depends on where it started from, though. Maybe what they're saying is like the impetus behind the changes.
Girk Pictus says, do you think Thanos is going to be the next threat to Krakoa? He's an Eternal, like Apocalypse, I think. Maybe they'll use the XOS demons to fight him. Oh, the Ten of Swords demons.
Oh.
I don't think so.
No, I don't.
I think Thanos is going to be the Apocalypse is the Thanos of this event.
Yeah, he could be.
Alex Cash is back. I made it 2 pages into Death Metal. I bet you remembered Lobo before I gave up. I want my money back. Do you remember Lobo? Like, literally, Lobo's a moment where he's like, and I'm also a badass, don't forget. And I'm like, that's why I'm here. Like, that's why he's here. I get it.
You know what it is, though? It's like, when everyone's saying ridiculous things, Lobo's lost.
Right, he's like, what the hell?
That's his purpose.
That'd be so funny if he did. If that was the book, like, if he was in there and he's like, normally I'm the one who's outrageous, but this is all bullshit.
Like, guys, all right, here's the plan.
Yeah, he shows up. We
gotta get back to normal here because I can't handle this.
Yeah, he slams his meat hook into the table. He's like, all right, you bastards, just listen up. You're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing this, because I'm the one who stands on the sides and makes fun of you assholes. But if everyone's Lobo, no one is, and no one interrupts the main man. Like, that would be amazing. That'd be amazing. It just takes. You know what that is? We were watching Marvel 616 and we were seeing like Dan Slott in a cold, unfeeling room by himself writing a script and telling another person in a trailer 1,000 miles away to do another thing. I miss the bullpen. You know what we got out of the bullpen? The death of Superman. Now, that being said, death of Superman is the worst thing. But like, I like the synergy of these people, like being stuck in a room, chain smoking and eating like Butterfinger BBs and just desperately trying to hash out a story is like where you get creativity and story from. Like, it's where it's like, you know how people talk about like, you can't do digital comics, it's print. No, comics is a bunch of sweaty, desperate, tired people in their 20s to 40s just trying to figure out what to do with these action figures. Like, that's what I want. And it's like, that's how you get Lobo being like the clear-headed leader of death metal. Yeah. Where he's like, the damn thing, look, this whole thing is like my album cover when I was in high school. The whole world, it looks like that. Yeah. And when that happens, it diminishes me. No.
We gotta get back to normal.
That'd be amazing. And like, that's what happens when you get that moment. But like, if you're just by yourself and then you get Deathbed. And then the pillows.
Oh, you meant The Bed That Eats.
The Bed That Eats.
Not Deathbed the comic.
No.
Which
it was a different thing.
Totally different thing.
Yeah, no. Just some guy with a mustache. I come from the future. We all missed Ethan dearly after his massive aneurysm, hearing the words crisis energy and Dr. Manhattan in the same sentence. Don't worry, I told him about Dr. Dr. Manbattan. Yeah. And he's already aware. I think that did not make it into letters page, but it will in the next one. But yeah, no, he is not going to like this. I'll tell you that. He barely liked Empire.
Oh my god. What do you mean he barely liked Empire?
He didn't like Empire at all.
I'm just saying, like, that's not a statement.
He was like, are we almost done?
Can we go home now?
Zachary Walker, I love Snyder, but I'm sick of him and him dragging out the story. First Metal, No Justice, Justice League, Doom War, now this, end it. Agreed.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I think he knows it too. Like, I think he can see the writing on the wall.
It's almost like he's been threatened that, like, if he's not writing a Justice League book, he's not writing anything.
Right. It's like, dude, no, you're Scott Snyder. You can write anything. That's why American Vampire's back.
Yeah.
You could do anything.
Yeah. Just go write indie for a bit. You're already doing it. You want to sell movies.
They'll pay you out the ass for them. Mr. DC Comics, the best way to see DC characters in 2020 are as actors. Warner Brothers will use them in ways to suit the director's vision. Okay. That's one way.
Well, I'm just parsing that. I'm sorry. That's why I was like, wait, best way to see DC characters in 2020,
or as actors? Like, we're just gonna use them however you want.
Oh, like the like Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers is like, use them to do this. Like, tell Batman that he's this now. Yeah, that's actually not true, or that's actually not too bad. Like, I kind of agree with that. Somebody remembered that I wanted Lobo to pants Rogolzar. Thank you. Yes. Also, Rogolzar shows up, and he's like, "I've got an idea," and then Lobo's like, "Whoomp."
No. So like, they win at the end, right? Everything's kind of back to normal. It's just Lobo sitting in space, and he's like, I got one more thing to do.
Yeah, one last thing to do. I gotta pants Rogolzar. I gotta kill Rogolzar. I hear he got redesigned again.
Rogolzar?
Yeah, and he's like even more dumb looking. Anyway, let's recommend some books, and then we'll give away this Exo Man.
Now that we've totally told you about how much we love these stories, let's
recommend some comics. The Daredevil number 24 is written, of course, by Chip Zdarsky with art this time by Mike Hawthorne, who does a nice job. I do prefer Chichetto, but Hawthorne does a nice job. It's part 4 of this story arc, Truth or Dare, or Truth/Dare. Good stuff all around.
Why did they write his honor like that?
I think because they have an intern doing these. So yeah, Daredevil 24. I recommend that this week. That is it.
Okay.
That's all I can recommend this week. I'm sorry.
Guys, Ten of Swords is wrapping up. We're down to the wire here. We're going to be doing chapters 20, 21, and 22. This is I sound like I'm giving an assignment.
Yeah. All right.
This week we're going to read chapters 20, 21, and 22, and then we'll discuss next week after Thanksgiving and our, turkey related comas.
Yes.
Be safe. So in order to pick that up and continue from cable number 6, you're going to pick up X-Men. Remember X-Men?
Remember X-Men? That's the book you're probably reading.
X-Men number 15 will house chapter 20 for you. That'll be written by Jonathan Hickman, with art by Mahmoud Asrar.
Yep.
So I think he's been doing a great job. So
I think so too. Yeah.
Did you want to hold that up?
I'm just holding.
Okay.
Hashtag value.
To get chapter 21, you'll be picking up Excalibur number 15. I think that's very apropos, for sure. I mean, again, we've been focusing so much on Saturnine. We, of course, will be dealing with Apocalypse and Annihilation. So, yes. Excalibur number 15 is written by Tini Howard, with story by Jonathan Hickman, with art by Stefano Caselli.
Yep.
Then you're going to move on to Ten of Swords Destruction number 1. We had like the beginning kickoff, the mid check-in.
Yep.
Now it's Ten of Swords Destruction number 1, which would be chapter 22.
Yes.
The Wheel of Fortune turns. Wheel of Fortune, tarot, all that stuff. The cover is showing a big drag-out, knockdown war battle going on. This might be the issue everyone has been looking for.
I think so.
I think as we come to the end, I might actually see everybody using their swords.
Oh, yeah. No doubt.
And maybe Cypher comes back to Krakoa with a wife. Who knows? I don't know.
I bet he does.
This is written by Tini Howard and Jonathan Hickman, with art by Pepe Larraz.
Good.
So you know it's going to look great.
Yeah. So you know this book was drawn like a month ago.
Yeah. So, and that will wrap up our 10 of Swords.
Yep.
And you know, that is an extra long issue. Looks like it's 44 pages.
Wow.
So it's actually more like it's 23 parts, but we're going to pretend like it's 22.
Right.
Because it's all in one issue. So it's going to be an extra long issue. So we should have enough time to couch that into your reading schedule, everybody.
Totally.
Over in DC, I know we just kind of
we were kind of like
down on them.
Yeah, but there are some light.
I do like Justice League Dark. Justice League Dark number 28 is coming out, written by Ram V. And
they have an artist doing it.
I feel so bad. I never say this person's name.
Monke
Nahulapan. Yeah. So, you know, we've been dealing with the Upside Down Man. We've been dealing with Zatanna's Sacrifice. And let's see, we're going to find out what happens. So I'm excited for that.
Totally.
Big shout out to DC, to Black Label, to the Sandman universe. John Constantine Hellblazer number 12 is coming out. This is the end of Cy Spurrier's run. This will have art by Aaron Campbell. Aaron Campbell's kind of been the main artist on it, but Matea Bagara has also done issues as well.
Okay.
But Aaron Campbell, for me, I prefer his art. It's a little like grittier, but they're both excellent. This will wrap it up. It's going to be a 32-page issue.
Wow, good.
So it's a little longer.
Good. They gave him a couple extra pages.
A couple extra pages. It does come with a slightly higher cover price, though. So be aware of that, but this will be it. You can still pick up volume 1 of this run. I'm sure volume 2 will be coming out shortly. I also just want to say Conan's coming out, because Conan hadn't been coming up for a bit. We just recently had a Conan issue, so Conan number 16 is coming out, written by Jim Zub. So go check that out as well.
Zub loves Conan. If you want to know more, if you want to get to know Zub, you should check out the last episode of Elseworlds Exchange, in which Zub and I talked about Mandalorian, but we like talk about everything else too.
No, for sure. And there's a lot of other things coming out. I just grabbed some highlights.
Yes. A lot of people have asking us about, we've been hearing a lot about like Venom, because Venom's like the biggest book in the universe. I don't read Venom. I'm going to wait for it all to kind of like wrap up, or Kate to quit the book until then.
Is the King in Black happening?
It's in the middle of it or something. Okay. Like he's coming. I don't know, something like that. Is he null? I don't know. I don't care. So I'll check that out later on. I did read Absolute Carnage. I was like, this is cool. So one day we'll do that on back issues. But but I really need the context for it, because I was reading Absolute Carnage. I'm like, there's a lot of shit in here. I don't know. Like they're referring to shit, and I'm like, I don't even know who that is.
Right.
So I'll have to read that. Coach Pinot says, "What's up with Amenth? She took the mask off."
So Amenth is actually the place that they come from. Genesis is Apocalypse's wife. She's wearing the Mask of Annihilation. The Mask of Annihilation allows the bearer to have control over the Amenthi army. So the Amenthi army has kind of like leached into Araco as well. But she is able to take mask on and off. She has seemingly been strong enough to wear it and not have it drive her crazy, because many cannot.
She's probably already gone crazy.
She probably has, but I mean, like, many have like been broken and like destroyed by this, and like she's seemingly still going, but she can take it off, but then put it back on. That's kind of it.
There you go. So with that, we're gonna announce our winner, and of course the way it works is you have to have been in the chat the entire time, or at the very least you have to be here now. We're gonna announce the winner. When we announce your name in the chat, just sound off. You're like, "Yo, it's me. Thank you," or "Hooray," or celebrate in some way. Just say your name, or say that you did it, and we will award you this. Now, when I do announce your winner, email me, sal@comicpop.net. Let me know it's you, and I will make sure that you get one of these.
Nice.
The winner is, according to this, Justin Bouffard. Justin Bouffard, you have won. You're in the chat right now. I tagged Justin, some guy with a mustache. I'm sorry, buddy. It's not you. It's Justin Bouffard. Mustache, I'll get you next time. When the pandemic's over, I'll see you at Zap, and I'll hook you up with him. No, it's not you. It's not you, mustache. It's Justin Bouffard. But just
Oops.
Yes,
Yay!
That's me. All right, Justin, congratulations. You won this limited edition, gold edition of X-O Manowar number 2. They've been using this promo art on literally everything. It's like it's just a gorgeous X-O cover. But there's also a whole book in here. It comes out on Wednesday. This issue comes out on Wednesday. You will get a special edition of this book in the mail. Email me, sal@comicpop.net, and I will hook you up with all the deets from there.
Looks like King of Black starts this week. That's what I thought.
Yes, yeah, King of Black starts.
Yeah.
So yeah, from there, I just want to say, if you want to hang out with us more, follow us, twitch.tv/ComicPop to watch Tiffany play Miles Morales. I played it all by myself in the darkness while Tiffany was asleep. It was a lot of fun.
I played a little bit with you.
Yeah, you did. You did. It was very frustrating. You didn't get to hear me yelling at the screen about all the times the game glitched on me.
I'm glad. Oh, hey, I kind of heard. I had my headphones on last night because I didn't want to.
Yeah, be spoiled.
Spoils. I was in the other room working on stuff.
But yeah, otherwise, we'll see you guys next week with an all-new episode of Off the Rack. Be safe. Have a wonderful holiday if you are from the U.S. Happy Thanksgiving to you, and we'll see you guys afterwards. There will be no interruption of service. We're still going to have Elseworlds on Tuesday, still going to have back issues on Wednesday, and there will be a back issues the following Wednesday. Like, we shoot everything ahead of time. Jake Tylenol also says, lately I've been noticing that things feel way too cynical. I don't get any enjoyment from most stories anymore. Any advice? My advice, Jake, would be I would reach out to your comic book reading community. In fact, the chat, I would say, if you're still there, tell Jake your favorite comic book series that's coming out right now that you think he needs to pick up. Would you do the same?
I would say take a break just in general.
Yeah, but like stop reading whatever's making you frustrated.
Yeah, and then go ahead and grab like a trade.
Like a complete story of some kind.
Yeah, maybe like, something a little older.
Yeah, but yeah, that's normally what I do is if I get like frustrated or fatigued, I read something that I really enjoyed, but I do take a break from comics for a little while, at least like a week or two. But you can take longer, doesn't matter, they'll be okay. But you can take a break, read something you really enjoyed, remind yourself why you liked them in the first place.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I also would solicit like what's great? What can't I miss? What series I can't miss?
Yeah, no, for sure. And like for me, it's always like sometimes I just want a palate cleanser, and it's just that's usually where I go indie.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And like you can, because a lot of times you can grab a story that's like, you know, X amount of issues and it's done, and so like you know it's not like going to be a huge time sink for you, but it's just something that's like, okay.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I read this. This is cool. You know what? Let me go check out something that's going on.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of Something's Killing the Children, for example.
Children, for sure.
Not a huge commitment to check that out. It's not like saying like read Saga.
Yeah,
like,
once in future. I mean, like if you still want to read writers you know, go check out some of their indie work. Yeah. Like if you're a Donny Cates fan, you might be a fan of Baby Teeth. You might be a fan of God Country. God Country is like. Was it like 8 issues?
It's very short.
It's like I can't even remember.
And it's like done. It's done. But he is doing a sequel, but who cares? Don't read it.
But you could just grab that and you can read that and be like, okay, cool.
Exactly. Storm King also says, "Do you think Mariah's last life will be a reset of the current universe?" Moira, sorry. Do you think Moira's last life will be a reset of the current universe with some subtle changes, a la 0 Hour, Be Well, Stay Safe? You too, Storm King? No. Tiffany's pitch that like they're gonna not do it. That like that'll be the setup is that they're gonna reboot it and they won't.
I think it makes the most sense for them to reboot it. I'm just saying, wouldn't it be ballsy if they didn't?
Yeah, I think so.
Like, or they'll do it where it's like they reboot it and then seemingly, because don't forget we still have not dealt with Destiny.
Yeah.
And it could just be that like she was wrong about the number of lives.
Right.
And like Moira does have another one in her.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. So yeah. That's it. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks a lot for hanging out. Right? We're still doing Off the Rec next week, right?
Yeah?
Yeah. That makes sense.
Okay.
All right.
Bye, guys.